Meeting of the Exeter Planning Board of July 14th, 2022 to order. And start with introductions. I'm Langdon Plummer, I'm chair of the board. And to my left is?
Aaron Brown.
And he is?
Vice chair.
Thank you. Just keep it short.
Okay.
Gwen?
Nancy Belanger, Select Board Rep.
And to my right?
Pete Cameron, clerk.
Jennifer Martell.
Robin Tyner.
Okay, Robin's an alternate to be acting this evening. First, before we go any further, we do have a request for tonight from Willie Creek, the applicant. Regard to the lot line adjustment, wetland shoreline condition use permit and site plan review application for the proposed relocation of Building B of the Ray Farm condominium development and associated site improvements off Ray Farmstead Road. By this correspondence, the applicant requests a continuance of its planning board hearing scheduled for this evening to the next available planning board meeting night of the applicant's receipt of this evening from a memo from Deputy Fire Chief Jason Fritz, which pertains to one of the applicant's core waiver requests. Parenthesis, roadway lake, close parenthesis, upon which the applicant's site plan review depends, the fire department memo, close parenthesis. Okay, so at the second paragraph, town planning department forwarded a copy of the fire department memo to undersigned council at approximately 2:44 p.m. this afternoon, and it was received at approximately 5 p.m. The fire department memo does not align with the applicant's understanding of the results of a meeting which the applicant and its representatives from GM2 Associates, Inc. had with Deputy Fire Chief Fritz on or about March of 2022. Regardless, in light of this development, the applicant needs time to engage its expert consultants to consider the concerns raised by the fire department memo before appearing at a public hearing before the planning board on this matter. And the next available date, excuse me, is August 24th, I believe. Am I correct on that?
I think 25th, I believe.
I had it written down.
I think it's the 25th. It is the 25th.
25th, you're right. So that'll be continued at the meeting on August 25th at 7 p.m. at the Wheelwright Room.
Do we have to vote on that?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we could.
Yeah, usually we do.
All right, so I need a motion to accept
I make
that.
a motion to continue, what's the name of the hearing?
PB case 22-3.
PB case 22-3 to August 25th at 7 p.m.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Request is granted.
You guys aren't here for that.
All right, the next item on
You guys are
the
Unitil, right?
agenda is an applicant, oops, wrong page. Application of Unitil for wetlands conditional use permit to remove an above-ground meter station and decommission a section of buried natural gas pipe between Kingston Road and Heritage Way. Construction vehicles access to the work area will require temporary impact to the wetlands within the natural gas pipeline corridor. Property is located in the R1 low-density residential zoning district, tax map parcel number 74-81 and 81-56, and it's planning board case number 211. And I'd ask our town planner if it's ready to be heard.
In my opinion, it is, Mr. Chairman.
It's like somebody, I'd like to have a motion, please, to accept this case.
Also move.
Second.
Thank you. I'll call for the vote, voice vote. Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. It's now Dave, I believe you can start us off on this case, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
The applicant is seeking approval of the wetlands conditional use permit for the removal of an above-ground meter station and decommissioning a section of buried national gas pipe between Kingston Road and Heritage Way. Construction vehicle access to the work area will require temporary impacts to wetlands within the natural gas pipeline corridor along Kingston Road and Heritage Way. The applicant submitted plans and supporting documents dated July 5th, 2022, which are enclosed in your packet. And the applicant, as I wrote in my memo, was scheduled to appear before the Conservation Commission this past Tuesday, and they did attend the Conservation Commission, and I do have a letter, and I think I provided it. It should be in front of you as well. And I'd like to read it. It's from Andrew Koff, the Chair of the Exeter Conservation Commission. Subject is Unitil Wetlands CUP. And the Conservation Commission held a site walk on Thursday, July 7th, with 2 commission members in attendance. During the site walk, it is noted that the vernal pool along the access road had tadpoles present. It was recommended that the wetland scientists further evaluate the tadpoles to determine species in time for the commission's meeting on Tuesday, which was 2 days ago. During the meeting, it was reported that Chuck Lyman, certified wetland scientist, confirmed the tadpoles were not wood frog. He indicated they were not light in color and lacked copper flacking and were likely green frog or pickle frog. Further, the applicant presented that the work would occur in August when the pool is dry and timber matting will be used to avoid rutting, erosion, or other permanent impacts. Based on this information, the commission voted unanimously that the proposal meets the wetland CUP criteria and recommend approval of the wetland CUP as presented, signed Andrew Koff, Chair, Exeter Conservation Commission. No TRC was held. It was similar to the Eversource, did a similar kind of, with their electric work. It's kind of temporary work. So no TRC was held, but the materials were distributed to staff for review. We had no comments from any of staff, and no waivers are being requested. And I did mention I'd prepare any suggested conditions of approval, but that was going to depend on whether the Conservation Commission recommended any, and they did not. So I do not have any suggested conditions of approval. That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Who will be speaking this evening? Or presenting? Please step to the microphone and introduce yourselves so our fans at home, they've been waiting for a planning board meeting for a long time, so they'll know who you are.
Okay. I'm Michael Dunn. I'm a gas engineer at Unitil. This is Brian Chaput, who's the construction supervisor for Unitil as well.
Good. Welcome.
Thank you. So we haven't prepared a presentation for this,
Okay.
but we are prepared to take any questions that you may have.
All right. But we have a pretty good package of material to review. Questions board may have, or comments, or thoughts?
Without a map, it's hard to maybe address some of the issues on this, but this is kind of in my backyard, so I know the pipeline, and I'm just, can you just give us some background as to why this needs to be removed? And is this is something that was initiated by Unitil, not by a landowner?
That's correct.
Example.
These particular facilities that we're talking about, we have 3 different areas that we're going to work in. One is what we call a mainline valve, which is some above ground piping that is in the backyard of number 7 Heritage, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah. We are going to remove that. That is the connection from our gas transmission pipeline that runs through the Heritage development. The next part is the part that we would like access to, which is the corridor from Kingston Road to the back of number 7 Heritage. That's what we call the lateral, and that's the connection between the transmission line and our metering and regulation station that you have probably seen next to Kingston Road. So all 3 of these facilities are no longer needed. We have another station on Epping Road that serves all the citizens in that area on the west side of Exeter for the most part. So that all these facilities are no longer needed. So we're going to abandon the below ground piping and remove all the above ground piping. So we've been in conversation over the past several months with Exeter DPW. And they have shared with us that they have a sidewalk project that's going to go right basically on the ball field side of Kingston Road. So what we'd like to do with our timing is get in, do our work, repair everything in advance of their sidewalk construction, which I think is in the spring of next year, sometime or early summer, something like that.
Or maybe
Fingers
last
Possibly.
year. Or-
Fingers crossed.
Right.
Does this, and this is kind of going beyond what you're presenting tonight, but there's, and I don't know how these connect, but there's another section of it that goes, it's further into Marshall Farms and then goes up.
I think I have a graphic that may help you if you,
I'm just curious.
Dave, can we get the map from the packet on the screen at all, you think? Off of that computer, or?
is there a way?
I think she's looking for a
This is probably
wider,
bigger than what.
bigger than just this section.
Yeah.
Well,
That way
this
just-
would help, though. It might help if we can do it.
Yeah, well, let's see. I think that's an overview of like a wider, where it goes through for me. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is probably one that we showed you, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you,
I guess I was envisioning this was, you were-
I'm sorry to muddy the waters by bringing that up, I'm just
The
curious.
main line is here. Goes through
Okay.
from Amy's property and then goes up to Epping Road to the new station eventually. And then this is just this little
Yeah,
ledge.
okay,
So
okay,
this is gonna
This is-
remain, we
that's-
have to have this as our transmission.
Okay.
This is where the valve is in the gentleman's backyard on number 7.
so I'm
And
okay,
then there's the pipe that goes down this corridor,
Yep.
and then there's the station near the parking next to the ball.
yeah, okay. This was what I wasn't
Yes.
sure, so
we're
that's the
gonna
main
remove
line.
all of that and then leave the,
Okay,
Do you want me to make copies of this for everybody?
I don't,
oh, yeah, I was just gonna ask if, yeah, it'd be nice to
No, I'm-
get the
I'm
explanation.
you're all set, don't you?
but it's Robin.
I got to see it looking over Glenn's shoulder.
I mean, I was guessing it was just, when
similar
we
to
always
what's-
run into each other with our dogs, right there.
It's similar to
Yeah.
what's in your pack. Oh, we can run in the pack. Okay, so.
Poor Andrew. He's here to talk about the one that we just continued.
Thank you.
Hi.
25th of August.
There you go. Might use that for something, huh? Might use that device or something.
So the vernal pool that they talk about is probably in the upper?
it's along that green line.
Okay,
There's a couple on the green line.
okay.
Okay, so the green areas were identified by a wetland scientist. So, okay, it's Kingston Road down here,
Yeah.
there's one, and there's also a wet area here and a wet area here.
Okay, okay, so
So
it's at the
we
green.
plan on, we talked to our wetland scientist in conjunction with the Conservation Commission, and we plan on doing this work September, October. Okay, I think we told the Conservation Commission it was going to be August, but we're not sure that's going to work. So, but his thought, or his expert opinion is that that would not interfere with the tadpoles.
Right, they should be hopping by then.
Anything else, Glenn?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Did you have a question, Robin? No?
No, I think as long as it's after August, it seems like that's probably okay. I'm sorry.
Jen?
I just was wondering if maybe you could just talk a little bit about the time frame for construction and what the staging laydown area and all of that is gonna look like.
Okay, I'm Brian Chaput with Granite State Gas Transmission, which is owned by Unitil. So there's a couple different phases to this job. One of them is we need to go up the right-of-way with timber mats to remove that mainline valve in Bridle, which is what serves the M&R station and sends gas to all the residents and businesses in that area. So that is probably about a 2-week process to go up in there, bring pipe, weld it, pressure test it, and cut it into the line. At that point, we can work our way out, pulling the timber mats and revegetation, hay, seed, and then the DOT wants us to cut and cap the 2-inch line that goes under 111 and fill it with flowable fill. So that's probably 3 or 4 days. So let's call it 3 weeks at that point, and then abandon the station down by the parking lot at the baseball fields is like another week, so 4 weeks or so, maybe 5 with final restoration. If there's delays due to weather, maybe 6 or so. But,
Do I hear 7?
but, so I would say there's a good 4 weeks worth of work to do those 3 phases.
Okay, I'm just, are you gonna have like equipment and stuff like stored out there? I guess my concern is the public use of the parking lot and the ball
Right.
fields and
So
all that.
one
It's like
thing
a
that
very
we-
busy time of year.
Yeah, it is a busy time of year. So one thing we probably could do is like on the first phase, the first 2 weeks is store equipment, maybe out on the right of way, out on our pipeline. And then once we get down towards 111, we would probably need to leave an excavator or 2 at night. Yep. And then we would have some trucks there during the day. It's typically a crew of 5, so 5 pickup trucks with an excavator, maybe a job trailer, small, like a 14-foot enclosed job trailer for tools, hand tools and whatnot.
Have you been in touch at all with the Parks and Recreation Department, just to make sure that just to let them know that this will be out there? I just know like a lot of people, like during soccer season and football season, like
Right.
they're parking everywhere. There's like
Yep.
kids darting across the road there. I just want to make sure that,
So we could definitely have a conversation with Parks and Recs, and if it does become an issue, we have our station off Newfields Road down by the DPW, which is a property that we own. So if necessary, if parking gets tight or there becomes a concern, we could move equipment in and out as necessary
Yeah.
to reduce our footprint.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just good to give them a heads up that that's coming.
I hope for good weather.
Yeah, it could, well, if it's dry like this, we'll be all set. This is just, like Mike said before, they put that station in on Epping Road by Great Bay Kid Company a few years ago. And so this basically eliminated the need of this station, and there's no reason to have natural gas piping there if it's not needed. So we want to take the chance, the opportunity to remove it and just move forward.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
It seems straightforward to me.
Okay. Somebody else?
Yeah, I was there are a couple things, when you go for a CUP, we have to the planning board has to adhere to a regulation, in our own regulations, 9.1.6.b, which is part of this packet. Conditions prior to issuance of a conditional use permit, the plan which shall conclude and make a part of the record compliance with the following criteria, and there's 8 criteria there. Under number 7, in cases where the proposed use is temporary or where construction activity disturbs areas adjacent to the immediate use, the applicant has included a restoration proposal revegetating any disturbed area within the buffer with the goal to restore the site as nearly as possible to its original grade and condition following construction. And I think that in your application, I think you've got enough there, but I just wanted to make sure with Dave that we're okay with it. In your application, it says detailed proposal, including intent, project description, and use of the property. Unitil will abandon in place a segment lateral of existing underground natural gas transmission pipe, above ground metering and regulation M&R station, and mainline valve bridle. The work will require access along the existing pipeline easement corridor, which will result in temporary impact to wetlands through the placement of timber mats to allow construction vehicle access. And then you say all impacts will be restored in place after work completion by removal of timber mats and seeding/mulching where needed. Unitil will submit a utility maintenance activity statutory permit by notification to the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for this work. And then I'm also aware you have to get a state permit for this as well, so.
That's correct.
That kind of is a fail-safe for our group. You know, we're kind of like the first step usually. That's enough in there, Dave, just saying they're going to reseed?
Well, that's up to the board. I mean, you know, sometimes you see what the mix is. That's not on these plans.
Yeah.
But maybe ask them what it is so we can get it on the record. What is the mulch and seed?
Right.
Use like a conservation, you know, New England conservation mix or something like that.
Yep,
Because I didn't see it anywhere. I don't know, maybe if you have it in there, I didn't see it anywhere.
So we have seed specs in our operations and maintenance manual that we typically use. It's not uncommon for people to suggest a certain seed mix, if necessary.
Okay.
And then we hay over the seed
Yeah.
for stabilization.
Yeah. And we're pretty anti-fertilizer.
Seed and hay,
Anywhere.
standard. Yep.
They do say, he did point me to a wetland seed mix is what they're doing.
Okay.
It is on there, so.
Okay.
Not which one, but it doesn't, I think that's adequate. The Conservation Commission felt it was adequate,
Yeah.
Okay.
recommended as such.
And do we need them to read the 8 things of the CUP? You want us to read it? How you want to handle it?
I don't think you need to, as long as you've, you know, in the motion, you've taken the time, it sounds like you have, you
Yeah.
know, you looked at the criteria, looked at their application, you felt it met it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I just will bring up for the board, just in the letter from Wood Environmental, it does state Unitil will also submit a utility maintenance activity statutory permit by notification, SPN, the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for this project. The work is covered by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, New Hampshire general permits for minimal impact work. So, you know, we can rest assured that there's sort of a big layer behind us to make sure this is done right. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Well, if we're comfortable with providing approval to the,
I'll make a motion if you'd like.
yep,
I will want to include the contact with the Parks and Rec about the parking lot that Jennifer brought up. So after reviewing the criteria for wetlands conditional use permit, I move that the request of Unitil Granite State Gas Transmission, Planning Board case number 2211-11 for a conditional use permit be approved with the following conditions, that there will be contact with and communication with our Parks and Rec Department regarding parking.
yep.
And using that parking lot, I guess I should add, right? Thank you.
You are planning to use that?
We'll talk to them.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
because they need permission to do that.
Right, but that was what the conversation with Jen, so I just want to make sure it was on the record. Yeah.
I just never, I mean, like, they need to go through another process to be able to use that as a staging
Yeah.
area. I envision them parking probably in the right of way.
I think they said they might have to leave one piece of equipment there, but, so again,
Yeah, I was-
and that's fine, but I just want to make sure it's on the,
Talk to the DOT too if they
Yeah.
have any restrictions.
yeah.
Yep, we have to pull a permit from DOT as well for the excavations inside
Life's that simple.
the right-of-way.
Yeah.
Do you have any other conditions, Dave?
No.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call vote, let's start with you.
Aye.
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 Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Take
time.
care. We'll do your minutes now?
We're gonna do minutes now, Mr. Vice Chair. I was just trying to see if you're awake tonight. So
I'll
we're
let
gonna-
you slide.
We're gonna.
Reading so
okay.
eloquently. Didn't want to interrupt you.
Thank you. Okay, minutes of May 26th, remember that?
Really, a long time ago.
We'll take that first.
Well, you had 2 sets of them.
Yes, we have 2 sets. One's a very long set, all 1 page.
Oh, I have a very silly check correction.
Go ahead, Gwen.
Line 238.
Gonna take a minute to get there.
This is really Don't you dare give me a...
Semicolon instead of a colon.
No.
238.
Woodpecker one. How can we move on?
It doesn't say woody either.
Okay, need replacement for due to, yes, okay.
Yeah, that could be a slippery slope.
Yes, it could. I'm not going there.
Did you have any, Pete?
I have two.
Oh, your turn now.
My turn?
Yes.
Pete's gonna argue that woodpecker is 2 words.
How about how about line 140?
Oh, that's back on page 4 of 9.
This is page 4 of 9. I think the word convenience is really inconvenience.
Correct.
Good catch.
And then finally, then on page, same page, line 161. Mr. Cameron noted the parking problem was not addressed and Mr. Sharples added or identified.
Really?
I'm wondering what he added or
Pretty
identified.
talented. I added and I did it.
This doesn't say and, it says or.
I'm not sure what he was going to say there. And if we can't recall, then maybe we just strike those words.
Well, we did have a lengthy discussion that the parking is one problem, and this applicant needs some parking as the second problem, or vice versa.
Do you want to just end the sentence after was not addressed? And
I think
then
that would be my recommendation,
cut out the rest of the sentence?
to just get rid of the conjunctive. That's a big word. For today.
Okay.
You know what that is.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it. How about a motion?
I'll move
As amended, right?
as
As
amended.
And I will second.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Abstentions?
Abstention.
Abstention, one abstention. Well, you weren't here that
I
night,
was
huh?
not there.
Okay, well, thank you. Now, the next set of minutes, June 9th.
Was I here in June?
This is a big one.
The only thing that Nancy pointed out is it's not mentioned who moved or seconded.
Yeah, and I was trying to remember. I always write, and I didn't that night. So I believe the first motion was done by me and that Gwen. Oh gosh, now I can't even read my own writing. No, that Aaron seconded it. And then the second one, I believe Aaron motioned and Gwen seconded. That's my memory, though.
I have no memory of that. Good for you. No memory.
Well, if you need to add that, if you feel like you need to add it, then I wouldn't vote on this tonight. If you are comfortable, because if Nancy is just going on memory and not certain,
I just said I'm going
Yeah,
by my
that's
memory.
what I'm saying.
yeah?
So I would
I'm
suggest we either don't vote or we exclude that
Yeah.
from in the minutes. Because we don't know, you know?
Approve it as,
Either approve it or just
Presented.
table
Yep.
it. and-
Yep.
Well, I'll motion that we accept the June 9, 2022 draft minutes as presented.
okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Gwen. Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
2 abstentions. Jen and Pete.
Since
You
we
missed an
weren't here.
exciting meeting that night.
We weren't invited.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, right. We weren't
We
invited.
were told we
Master plan discussion, where's John?
We have a meeting tomorrow. Hopefully he's going to make that.
2, okay.
He is.
Yes?
He said via email he cannot make tonight,
Alright.
but he will see you Friday morning for the MPOs.
Okay. Town planner items, field modifications, Dave?
None requested. I would list them here if they were, but none were requested.
Same for performance agree?
Yeah, McFarland Ford, you know, the Holland Way vehicle storage lot
Yep.
that has been completed, built per plan.
Looks
And
good.
I think it looks good.
There's no vehicles in it.
It does. You know, for a parking lot, you know,
Yeah.
it's pretty darn nice.
Parking lots go.
Yeah, site restoration bond has been released. So that project is complete.
Okay. Any announcements for the good of the order? Chairperson items, hope everybody had a good 4th of July. Now, speaking of that, we do not have a meeting in June. Our next meeting is first meeting in August, which is CIP. And that's the
Well, it's
25 minus 14, quick.
11.
11, yes. There you go.
August 11th, we prepare the CIP, and we'll be here with department heads to present the draft program for your review and comment.
Okay, good.
And then we'll have a second pre-meeting before like we usually do if the board will oblige, at like 6:30 on the 25th, from like 6:30 to 7. Just have the second, have a public hearing for anybody that didn't get a chance or what they heard, wanted to come and comment, or the board's comments, and then, you can take action on it, and then it moves on through the process to the budget review committee and on the select board and ultimately the voters.
Okay. Any planning board representatives have a report on other committee activity?
Pretty quiet.
I don't have a report, but I have a discussion item since we have a little bit of time. Brief discussion item. Or it's more of a question. Is it okay if I?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So my question, I think it's more to Mr. Sharples. So usually when when we approve these plans, we say that, the landscaping needs to be kept in.
Maintained at a time,
Yeah.
That was a
okay.
condition
And so I hate to pick on people whose projects are really visible, but there's a particular project that was approved several years ago that, the trees are all dead. And they've been dead for a while. And I was wondering, how do we
We
Approach
get
them
alerted to it because maybe no one's seen it, it's kind of complaint driven, that kind of thing. We go, we inspect it, sometimes if they're starting to die or not, when they're looking for a CO, then we take the opportunity for watering bags or whatever to get them established. And we've had replacement at that stage, but then after a few years go by, then, someone has to bring to our attention. So I'd suggest you bring it to our attention. We would go out there, determine it, and I was the one who instituted that condition, and I don't remember when.
Oh, this might have been before.
Yeah, if it was before me, then
Okay.
I do that because it makes it in perpetuity that you have to maintain your landscaping. If you don't put that in condition in, honestly, that's kind of,
Why bother having?
It's a little.
requiring it?
Gray area?
It's a little, I think it is. That's why I added that condition.
Yeah.
I think it establishes, saying, okay, because they could argue, it only, these plantings are only meant to last 3 to 5 years, So, so tell me what the project is, maybe not, shoot me an email or something, and
Yeah.
I'll look into it to see what we can do. But if it is the condition, then I would contact the owner, just have a verbal conversation about it to see if we can, get it done. If not, then there are avenues to make that happen. But usually most people, you just need to contact them and set up a schedule, and if it's in the condition, because they can be subject to site plan revocation and get their CO revoked. I've never gotten that far, because people aren't gonna, usually just gonna comply.
Yeah. Okay.
So if it's a public road
Question.
and the town's accepted it, and there's no homeowners association,
Oh, then we own it.
right? Because that happens too.
Well, then there's no one, to look
Town
towards
doesn't
except
always
the
do a
town.
good job of maintaining it.
No, understood. What I'm saying is that's the town.
So you
There's
can follow
no
the town.
owner to go back to. You can't go back to the applicant because we own it.
Right.
Like there are two missing trees on Water Street now.
Yeah.
They've just cut down and removed. They've
Right.
not been replaced.
Right.
That's the town's work, I think. I don't know.
I think it is too. Yeah.
Oh, those are the two, I don't know what happened with those.
Yeah, because it's usually,
Right on.
it's a lot easier if there's like an association or something
Yes.
post handing it over from the original development or alteration of the property to the new owners. If there's like a condo association or a homeowners association of this common land, then it's pretty easy for Dave and code enforcement or whoever to come back on somebody to deal with that, if we have that proper condition in there. And usually I think they tend to be better maintained in those situations anyway. When it's privately owned by one individual, I think it can fall out a lot
Yeah.
easier, you know?
I'm thinking more like commercial property.
Yeah.
where it's-
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
You know, I mean, they, like a lot of trees in parking lots, like they just take a beating.
Yeah.
and-
Yes, they do.
And they're difficult to.
And this has been a
keep alive.
hard year, so you really have to, if you're gonna maintain your stuff, you gotta work at it this
Yeah.
year. It's not, no rain.
Yeah, Mother Nature's not helping us.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing to discuss, Jen, because those,
Yeah.
we spend a lot of time on those conditions.
Yeah.
This board, you know?
Yep.
And it's important that they be followed through on.
Yeah, hence the condition I
Yeah.
suggested, and
Yeah.
if we put on all of them that have landscape plans, but if it was predates that, I'll look at it, there are
Okay.
other options.
I'll email you and we
Yeah,
can-
yeah,
yeah.
let me know and I'll
Good.
figure it out.
Well, let's see. Item 9 on the agenda.
Is that a motion to adjourn?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much for coming this evening.
Wow.